Doing well. Felipe, goddamn camera off here for our live viewers. What the heck did I do over here, Chris?
I don't know, man.
Holy Christ, did I screw
There you
that
go.
up?
Pointing at the ceiling now.
Oh, there we go. There we go, Chris. There we go. How's it look, Chris? Live.
Nice.
Listen, if you don't want to get me in Chris's head. Oh, hold on. My bag. I didn't know we were live on the YouTube. If you didn't want to get Chris's head on Facebook, go to the YouTube channel. Go to freaking at Security Tales. At Security Tales. That's what it is. What's it called? An Amsterdam?
Ampersand.
Ampersand. Yes, ampersand. That's what I was trying to say. So hello, everybody. So today we're going to be discussing some interesting things, and thank you so much for those of you that are starting to join us. I appreciate that. So one of the things that we're going to be discussing today is going to be a deeply tragic and urgent situation that has not received the attention it deserves. Enrique Delgado Garcia, he was a recruit at the Massachusetts State Police Academy, and he tragically lost his life during a training exercise. Before we dive in, please remember that our discussion is based on information available to us. It's not legal advice. It's just stuff that me and Chris went and researched it. And we found it, very interesting, especially from Chris, retiring from the Mass State Police, and me with, years and years of Department of Correction, and obviously still in working in the field of security. So we found this, needs to be heard. So first of all, before we start, Chris, anything from you?
Nope. Just good things that listeners wanted to hear about. So we're gonna talk about some stuff, try to shed some light. We have no particular insight, maybe a little bit in the state police, but stuff we're finding online and just trying to decipher it for everybody.
Nice. Look at that, Chris. I didn't know. We got the TV going there. We got the Apple ID. Yeah. Then we got the Facebook thing going up there.
Before Facebook, people get to see the top of our heads, though.
Listen, that's why I do a hat. I got the hat on. That's it. I'm not hiding. I got a full head of hair. I just take it down, bro. I like the military look. All right. So this is what I want to discuss. So Chris, I just want to know from your background and what you did. So can you provide an overview of your training exercises from what you remember, not only as a recruit, because that means you're new to the ground, boots to ground, but also when you became a DI in the academy. So first, I would like to start out with like your first day in the academy. What do you bring? What's your expectations there? What are you built for to get ready for this?
You want to know about my first day or what I did to
well, I guess I would like to say you prepared.
First day was hell. First day was hell. Prepare. You gotta get in shape. You gotta get ready. You gotta be physically ready. You gotta be mentally ready. And it's a lot of people when I was a DI there were failing on the physical runs and like I don't know.
Well, no. I want you to discuss you physically because I want to understand, for instance, because I don't know what the State Police Academy is. So the first day that you pulled up in your vehicle, which obviously your vehicle, what happens when you boots to ground at that moment? What's the first thing that happens to you? Because I kind of want to be placed in that situation with you. When you jump out of your vehicle or whatever.
Out of your vehicle, you go in real quick. You go to the area, there's a little lull. They bring you into a sleepless lull, and then
15, what do you mean sleepless?
Well, it's just calm and quiet, and and then bam, like 15 DIs pop out of every single like crevice and then screaming at you and yelling at you and getting you up, and then quickly they bring you bring all your crap, and back then it's a lot of crap. You bring all your crap down to the gymnasium.
So what do you got? A duffel bag? You got a knapsack? You got what?
You choose, but they tell you to bring a lot of stuff. I mean, underwear, socks, freaking PT outfits, shoes, sneakers, boots. You're bringing all this crap. It's heavy stuff. You bring it down to the gymnasium, and then they do inventory on everything that you brought.
So you brought stuff because you're
they tell
staying.
You to bring.
So you're staying there.
Right.
So you're not showing up in gear in a suit, changing in, working out. So you're actually there for what, 5-7 days?
You're there for 5 days, Friday. But yeah, you show up in a suit and they're yelling at you, screaming at you. They're like, show us your socks, and you're holding up your socks, and they dump all your stuff.
What, you don't have them in your feet?
No, you got like, dude, you're there for a week. They make you.
Showing you socks.
Yeah,
okay.
You got to bring like 10 pairs of socks,
Jesus.
10 white t-shirts, 10 black t-shirts, 10 pairs of underwear, 10 pairs of this.
Jesus.
And then everything's got to be folded to exactly, depending on what it is, anywhere from 4 to 6 to 10 inches has to be folded perfect. And then you get all your stuff, they dump it all on the floor, and then they freaking go around and they kick my stuff with your stuff, and they mix it all up.
Aye. Right. So now at that time, they're giving you a couple of minutes to put all your gear back together again?
No, just no minutes to do nothing. You just throw all your gear back, and yeah, you have your name written on it, but you're not sitting there looking at your name.
So you put your name on your shit too?
You have to put your name on everything. That's part of the instructions.
Damn, I remember that when I was in kindergarten.
Follow the rules.
Put them in my underwears.
Follow the rules. I may have your stuff and you may have my stuff, and I don't know who you are. You know who I am. So
really? Yeah. Oh God!
I still remember to this day. There's guys who left the academy who never found all their stuff.
That's gross.
Yeah.
So now we get that all over. Where do you go to next?
On those days?
No, just in general. So now you've gotten your clothes, you've gotten everything. Yeah. So now what? You're geared up now. They're telling you to put your sweats on. Now starts the academy that day. No introduction. No go to a class. None of that.
No classes. That's you got to get your room assignments. You got to get to your room. You got to get your stuff stowed away in the drawer. Everything specific. Socks in this drawer. Underwear this drawer. T-shirts this drawer. Folded exactly 4 inches, 6 inches, 8 inches. Everything has to be put away.
While somebody's yelling at you.
Oh yeah. They had some good stuff, man. We had some fun DIs. Here's a fun thing. All right, you'll like this. So one of the things they would do, they take, you bring baby powder and stuff like that. They tell you to, the baby powder deodorant. There's tons of stuff that you're bringing, right? So what you do is you take the baby powder and you open it up, and you empty out the container of the baby powder on the top of the door, right? So recruit doesn't see it. Then when he closes the door, poof.
Why would you do that though?
Because that's all part of it. It's part of.
So now I got to clean up the shit that you just did to me.
That's right.
Dude, that's nonsense.
Fill your boots with shaving cream.
I don't know. Yeah. That's probably something that bro, we need to correct that because that's ridiculous. No. I didn't come here for games. I came here to learn.
It's all part of the torture.
So you know what? Let's switch to a serious matter.
Yeah.
So I want you to outline, because one of the shameful part is this gentleman, Mr. Delgado, lost his life in this training academy. And I wanted to outline some of the details of, I'm just trying to figure out defense tactics, I guess would be the term. Your defense tactic exercises. I want to know and if you want to elaborate on it. Like when I'm talking about defense tactics, I'm talking about the combative part of it, where this gentleman lost his life. Like no training, or possibly maybe he might have had some boxing training or something out in the street. But what type of defensive tactics do they have state police training?
Now, when we say defensive tactics, takedowns, batons, and all that stuff. So let's kind of more just focus on the boxing aspect of it, because that's
okay.
That's kind of where it happened. Now I'm going to ask some questions that you can answer, and I'll ask some questions that I can answer. So, and again, it's been a lot of years, so I don't remember everything. So, maybe there's only a couple of days of it, and it is a good idea because, as you know, a lot of people, male, female, bigs, have never been punched in the face. So the premise is, all right, we spray you so that you know what it's like. It's not a big deal. We gash you so we know what it's like. It's
absolutely
not a big deal.
Yeah.
We get you hit in the face so you know what it's like. It's not a big deal.
So when you're telling me you're going to hit me in my face, how are you when you're hitting me in my face?
Well,
when you're using the term, I'm going to hit you. I can just get up and hit you in the face.
All right. So, and again, I don't remember everything about the training. Say there's probably a day or two of boxing, hitting the bag, stuff like that.
That's what I wanted to ask. Right. So before you get in that ring,
very little, not
very little.
Yeah, very little. You're boxing, you're hitting the bag, but you get in a ring, and it's when I was there wasn't even a ring; it was just mats, and and you can answer these questions: head, yes, headgear, yes, mouthpiece, yes, 16-ounce gloves, yes. So the amount of damage.
So you got some big gloves,
right? Big gloves. So it's. The idea is not to get anybody hurt. The idea is so you know what it's like. And so, oh, it wasn't as bad as I thought.
So, Chris, I'm going to stop you. How are you stating to me, because I know you have the answer for this, how am I not going to get hurt? So me and you, I could understand, because me and you are the same size, same build, same everything. Me and you, I could say, okay, hey, Chris Felipe, jump in there, let's go. And I understand that. So what makes your determination this person matches this, or that girl doesn't fight this guy? We find a girl. How do you do that?
We try to, they pick out skill levels. If you have skill, we're not going to put.
But how are you basing my skill levels if you never see me fight?
Well, we've seen you hit a bag and
hit the bag.
Well, you're gonna
hit the bag. Come on, bro.
You know if someone knows how to box with the way they hit a bag.
No way. I've seen guys that have so much talent and hitting a bag and then get in a spa.
Yeah, but you ask them questions.
A bag doesn't counter react.
You guys hitting the bag like this, you say, oh, "Okay, we're going to put you with a girl."
But I'm not backing that comment.
But it's like, they know your skill level. They ask you skill level. I remember it wasn't a class I did, but I got to talk to him during his fitting. This guy was legit. He fought on HBO. He was actually a Worcester kid too. Fought on HBO. Fought a real big name for $1 million. So he was a legit kid because he came up through the Worcester Boys and Girls Club, which is kind of cool. Yeah. Wasn't like a rich kid.
Yeah.
Came up the right way, fought the big fight, and then at 35, he's realized, it's like I've gone as far as I can. Got on the state police, and of course, he didn't box. You don't box.
I was gonna say, who did he box that day? One of the DIs.
But yeah, they put certain skill levels together. This guy's there to stop the fight. It's recorded, videotaped. It was way back when, so I'm sure it's still being videotaped. And that's one of the questions. It's like,
so before we get to that question, so one of my answers is this. Obviously, we know the gentleman was hurt. Later on, it's proven he's severely hurt. So one of my questions was going to be, obviously, there's only no first aid to a certain limit. So what are the immediate actions taken by medical personnel on site, and who are the personnel on site? Like, is it a PA? Is it just somebody that knows CPR or whatever? I know when I researched this, it was the response team was medical, and which handled care situation, and then they took a transport. So is that the same?
Well, we have a real ambulance there. We have EMTs in the medical. We have a whole medical department, EMTs, maybe paramedics. When I was working there, we were lucky enough to have a PA. She was a PA. She didn't like it, and she joined the state police and became a trainee. So, she was obviously very, very well.
Obviously,
well trained. So, they're going to handle what they handle, and then they're going to transport. I don't know what level of care was there, whether or not they were lucky enough to have a PN, but I would say no, because it's, to leave that job for that. But I mean, answer me this. I mean, fighting, how is it possible for somebody to have sustained those kinds of injuries with that appropriate gear? Again, I will admit, I'm not 100% sure. It was 2 1-minute rounds, I believe. Could have been 2-minute rounds, but I believe it was 2 1-minute rounds to sustain that kind of damage with the headgear, the gloves.
Yeah, I'm going to be truthful with you. All my years of basically doing what I've done, and all my years of street fights and things that have occurred, obviously, I can totally understand if a tooth came out, if a nose got broken, if an orbital eye socket got broken, or even a jaw or something. But truthfully, I can't understand it. Has there been occurrences of broken necks that have happened in the ring? Absolutely. People have fallen wrong and hit their heads incorrectly as they fall. And I said, but then to follow it up with, what was it? Tooth, was it legs or something else? And I do apologize. I know I have some of it down. But
yeah, I mean,
it was
serious injuries that are almost in my mind almost impossible. Like I said, my nose breaks easy because it sticks out, but orbital is pretty well
let's look it up. Let's find out
stuff like that. But how you could have that kind of damage in that quick of a time against somebody who in theory his opponent hopefully wasn't a boxer, and how many times you're gonna have to hit somebody to do that, and at what point are you gonna be like, this has got to stop, but he's basically, I mean, I have some notes, he's beaten unconscious and stuff, which is crazy.
Well, once it's beaten unconscious, but right here where I'm looking up right now, which it is a fighter's thing, you severe brain damage, a broken neck, and missing teeth were sustained in the boxing match. That's what legitimately came out of it. So to me, could it have happened? Yeah, you could most likely, if somebody hits you right and you fall and the impact of your head hitting the ground. Lord knows it's been proven fact that a child can fall off a tricycle, crack their neck, and then years later not even have any results or pain until their 30s or 40s. And then all of a sudden they had neck trauma and they're like, I've never been injured, this and that. But I think in order to get something like that, it's very hard, man, especially if you got a mouthpiece and you guys aren't even really fighting and it's a minute round. Like, what does a person have to sustain in under a minute to get that type of damage?
Right.
You know what I mean? And you got headgear on and everything. So I'm going to be personal. I know when I have headgear on and I spar, I can't feel a goddamn thing, but I can feel the impact of it hitting me, but I can't feel anything. And, God bless it, never lost my teeth. So that's a good thing but one of my questions I had is, like, I've been researching on the investigation team, which threw me off. So I always thought you guys do your own internal investigation. I know in the prison system, they have a group of people called IPS, in a perimeter security team, that investigates officers and inmates. But the more I researched in this, in the Delgado de Garcia's death, why is it being handled by a third party? And what was the role of Worcester District Court to step into this, to oversee this operation?
Well, I mean, that's who covers the area. So Worcester District Attorney Joe Early, would be in charge of the investigation, and probably to his benefit, because this investigation it's not going to go somewhere good, I don't think. But he opted out of it, saying conflict of interest, because Delgado Garcia spent some time working there. So
see, I knew he worked for it stated witness something.
Well, yeah, for Joe Early's office.
Yeah. So they said we can't do it because what was the comment? I think
because he worked there and we knew him, but that's
that doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I don't think. Would you want that investigation?
Absolutely, especially if but no, listen, God forbid, if I'm an investigator and I find out you get hurt, I don't care. I'm not going to be biased about it, but I'm definitely going to impact the investigation. I am definitely going to be flipping things and finding out what occurred and what happened. So I think, them being in a position of him working there and seeing what type of person and individual he is, he's definitely worth the investment. So I would think they would put more into it. And I hate to say it that way, but I think they would put more into an investigation, knowing that, this guy was solid. This guy got on. He fought hard to get in it. There wasn't anything, not to say anyone should suffer an injury like that. But I'm just saying that if I knew I was in that position and they said to me, well, he worked for you, this and that, to me, that's just your way of trying to get me out of it, because I'm going to put all balls into checking that shit out.
I think it's, they kind of want, and this is just my assumption, that they wanted out of it because it's going to be kind of a no-win situation for them. They're going to be potentially going after troopers who they work with on a daily basis. Remember, they work with troopers. There's troopers in his office. There's guys in his office he works with on a daily basis. And yes, you're right. The truth does got to come out, and whatever way it goes, it just has to go that way. But it was just a little bit easier to distance yourself from it, and having another party, a third party who is experienced, look into it would almost make it like zero conflict of interest.
So who picks that third party, though?
Was it what's her name? The Attorney General.
So
Andrew Campbell picked him.
So let me ask you something. If that individual picked it, does that person, I guess, bed down with the Mass State Police? Meaning, Do you guys vote that person in? Do you
No.
does she do stuff for you guys? Like, is
Andrew,
that who you want in the
Andrew
office?
Campbell appointed David Meir, who was a former county prosecutor, to investigate it. So, he probably has his own company now. He's not working as a county prosecutor anymore. So she appointed him to look at it as a completely solely, and I don't have a problem with that. Having a person that has no dog in the game, doesn't know this person, doesn't know that person.
No,
completely independent. Yeah. So that's not a bad thing. But I think Joe Early was probably happy that he got his office out of it. I wouldn't.
Sad to say it's placed in a position to do that.
Yeah.
So it's shameful. So let me ask something. So you obviously, it doesn't matter how you look at it. You may be retired, but you're still blue shirt. You still, if something happens to one of your fellow guys that you worked with or anything, it's still going to impact you. Obviously, I know me and you have discussed a lot of this on the outside and off the camera and off the podcast, but me and you have talked a lot about this. How do you feel? How has it impacted you? And how do you feel it's impacted the people now on both sides of it? Do you think the academy now is a little more lenient on the training? Did they back off it? Like saying, oh my God, we need to stop this because of this? Or do you think they're still doing what they're doing because they felt they didn't do? Because to me, I feel if I'm teaching you something and you only know you're coming in and we're doing some moves or something, and you could wrist break, finger break, nose break, something, because it's sparring. So I'm not going to stop the way I train because you ended up with a broken hand, because how I'm training is the right way of training. So in my head, I'm thinking to myself, this Mass State Police now wipe out what they do in the training academy and then start from scratch again when all these years nothing had occurred. That how did all this impact?
Well, I mean, obviously my great empathy for the family and all that stuff, but as far as the academy goes, yeah, it's been stopped. And
so they don't do. So what are they doing now?
Well, they still do. Let's separate the two: defensive tactics, which is takedowns and all that stuff, and boxing. Boxing had a particular reason for it. It wasn't to teach you to box. It was, hey, it's not that bad to get punched in the face. And so, yeah, it's suspended, and I would hazard to say slim chance of it ever coming back. And it's not a bad thing. It's a good idea. It was a good concept. Do I believe they should have given real training? Absolutely. The thing I didn't like about, I would have changed about the academy is maybe make it longer, which people wouldn't be happy about. Take out some of the stupid stuff that they teach you. They taught us some very stuff that didn't have nothing to do with it. But you go to class all day, breakfast, class, lunch, class, dinner, class. Take out the classes after dinner and just do more PT, more more boxing, and even more takedowns and jiu-jitsu, and because that's really where it all ends.
That's what I was going to tell you. I know when I went and did what I did, it was more because we do a lot of cuffing in the prison system, a lot of shackling in the prison system. It's more or less, we weren't taught to box, but I was doing the arts anyways before that. But we were more or less taught, to basically wrist controls and ankle controls and things like that. So I find it kind of strange that you guys being out in the street, having guns, having mace, having tasers, that you guys, and we're there face to face with these guys, getting ready to get punched all the time, getting ready to be struck. Nothing on us but a radio. If we can click our radio on our side to say help, help, help while we're getting hit, or a little beeper on the button on the control on the radio. But I find it interesting in how you guys decide boxing is what I need to know. I know for a fact, if you're going to get in a combative situation, you just said it. It's combative situation. I'm taking away that space. Boxing isn't getting me away from that space. I'm taking away your ground in jiu-jitsu and small circle jiu-jitsu.
But remember,
I think it's a better implementation for that.
There's not enough time because, like I said, there's some things that could probably go. And
so where would you use the boxing skills if there's not enough time?
Well, remember, the boxing is probably like 2 days.
No, I understand.
Jiu-jitsu would have to be taught almost from like week 3 on.
No, not really. You can learn hand combats in 4 hours of training. You can learn wrist locks, finger locks.
You'd like to give somebody enough of a foundation so that they kind of know what they're doing, and hopefully the big thing, enough of a foundation so that they like it, so that they continue on.
Listen, and and I do apologize for cutting you off, but I'm going to explain this just like we did with the car thing. If you're 21 years old and you get into the Mass State Police and you still haven't driven a freaking car and they give you a $80,000 cruiser, okay, is what they pay for it to drive. Now, all of a sudden, 4 days of boxing training and me getting punched in the face once, that does not save you for the next punch getting punched. You have to be trained. You have to be in situations, in combative situations, and be struck. There is no effing way in hell me going to a 4-day training academy with 2-day boxing for maybe how many hours?
It's probably, I don't know, maybe 4 hours each, maybe 8 hours of training. I mean, it's,
there is no way that suffices to anything.
Hey, I would love to see it all be taught, from the get-go and be endorsed, and people try to do it, but let's be honest, people have, I don't know if this is close enough. People get busy, people get busy with their life. It's tough to fit, you get what you get in the academy, maybe continue it on afterwards.
And I'm going to stop you again. You just said people are busy in their life. This is their life. If you're going to be a law enforcement officer, guess what? Your life is now changed. It isn't like a simple career. It isn't like security where I could turn around and go work for this company, and then all of a sudden I make a decision, I'm going to go work for another security company. If you work for the Mass State Police, you're working for the Mass State Police, unless you have a career change.
But, in reality, 99% of the people comply. And they do comply and whatever. Because think about it. Like, if I go up to you on the street and, hey, you got a warrant. Yeah, turn around, put your hands behind your back. No. Now what? Because 99% of the time it's, people comply and they do their thing. And sometimes you get in the
tell me what happens.
Depending on you, depending on the person, you're either like going to go up to him and, you're going to lay hands on him because he's already said he's going to resist. A fight's coming.
What do? Do you step back with your taser, or is that excessive use of force at that time?
Well, he hasn't complied, but I think taser's a little bit too far right now until he starts to fight. Or what most guys will do, maybe they'll call for backup or see if there's backup in the area because they know that a fight's coming.
So you already know a fight's coming, and it's a predetermined fight.
Possibly, yeah.
Well, that's what you said.
Yeah.
So now it's possible. So now you just pulled me over and you say I have a warrant for you. I tell you, who gives a F? Like, I need you to turn around and get cuffed. Screw you. You ain't getting me cuffed. You already know I'm combative. So what stage is in a combative matter? Is it going to be my boxing skills, or is it going to be my mace, or is it going to be my taser? But you said I need to go to my radio and call in and say, is there backup? So now I'm walking away. What is that?
No. I said that, that's your option. Your options are just walk up to him and grab him.
Yeah.
Or call.
Is that excessive force though? He's not fighting you. He's just telling you, no, I'm not.
Cause I'm not punching you. I'm not throwing you on the ground. I'm going to grab your hands
but I don't want you touching me.
Then it gets into a fight. Then it gets into a scuffle. Then punches get thrown. Now the taser can be used.
I don't know.
It's
just a little confusion.
People don't realize that, people don't have to comply, and when they don't comply, and that's when the shit happens.
So listen, in light of this tragedy, right? What changes do you think should be considered in police training programs moving forward? Because you being retired and you seeing it and you actually being part of the organization and not sitting back and taking positions from K9 to DI to other positions that you've taken. What have you seen? If you could take away anything with a little knowledge, what would you want to say that they need to do from an outside?
Like kind of what I said, I would like to see me, they keep on trying to shorten the academy. Okay, now think about it this way. This isn't my mindset, whatever.
How many months the academy?
It was like 25, 26 weeks when I was in. I think they cut it down to 22 weeks. I think a couple things need to be done. Okay, if we lengthen the academy 3, 4, 5 weeks, okay, whatever. 8 or 10, who cares, right? Think about it in the long run. I own you for 30 freaking years now, because now it's a 30-year retirement instead of 25. I own you for 30 years. Does it really make a frigging difference if I keep you for an extra 4 or 5 weeks?
Not to me.
Right. Isn't that investment worth it? Right. I am investing a 30-year career in you, but we're trying to rush you out onto the streets. Why? Let's spend an extra couple of weeks there. Let's get it right. Let you get better. I was talking to Georgia Trooper when I was down at one of the Patriots games, and they do like 36 weeks. And now it's a lot easier. Well, the academy is easier, and they actually get paid a real salary. When I was there, they got paid nothing. But let's invest the time in the people. Maybe go a little bit longer. Maybe take a real close look at what they're training. A little bit more on PT. A little bit more on getting you in shape. A little bit more on being able to defend yourself. I think DT and all that has to be in there. I think boxing has to be in there. Or if they add some jiu-jitsu, that would be great. But we need to help you protect yourself, and trying to get you out of there an extra 3 or 4 weeks early for a 30-year career, because you're not getting the person back. Yeah, you go back with DT training, but DT training is like, I go up to you, I grab your hand, I put I'm not fighting you. I mean, shit. Ever try to arrest a 120-pound girl who was going crazy?
No.
It's friggin' hard. I don't care how big you are. It's friggin' hard, because you can't like punch her and knock her out and then cuff her. You gotta gotta just sit there and fight her.
I don't even wrestle with my wife. She weighs 125 pounds. Yeah. She's strong as a mule and hits like a freaking mule.
It's hard trying to get some cuffs on people, and a lot of time, DT, it has to be done. I understand, but a lot of it's just
let me ask you something, because I loved how you said this other state. So I know when I've been to other states like California and Florida and all to these areas, they actually work the prison systems first. And once you work the prison systems and learn, then you get out, then you go to a 3 to 6 month academy for the police. I find that if you were to do that, you will have more people that want the job to stay in the job. Then in a tactical sense, you're learning the ground operations up. And then when you get out to the streets after the academy, you're going to have a better understanding, and you can better adjust yourself to it. Why do you think we don't do that here?
It's just 2 completely different roads. It's not a bad idea, because like I said, you can learn from the ground up. And
even if it's a month training, like you said, you got 5 weeks. What's the rush? Because take any position in any career. Like, I didn't become a director because I got out of college and said I'm going to be a director. No, I had to turn around and I had to go through schooling, and I had to go through starting as a basic security, and then after security, after the Department of Corrections, go into security, then after security, become an account manager, after an account manager, become a senior accountant, and then so on and so forth until you became one. It wasn't like, okay, yeah, we like you, you're a director. So why turn around and put value into someone in less than 25 weeks to say they're good for operations, send them out. And then they're a boot for how long? How long do they do a ride along?
3 months.
3 months. So now they do a ride along with you in the cruiser with you, right? And obviously they're going to do well because they're being trained by you. You ever had a feeling that the person beside you, no matter what, no matter how many years, no matter what, is worthless? Not meaning they're worthless, but meaning they're worthless for this position, and you know it.
Absolutely. I've heard stories of guys, FTOs, writing reports. This person should not continue on. This person should not. I heard one story of a guy get bounced from barracks to barracks to barracks because nobody could train him, and they was like, he can't learn. He just can't learn. He's no good. He's and despite all the recommendations from the FTOs, who are supposed to be right, that's their job, train you, and hey, I'm sorry, he's untrainable after 6 months. I've heard guys on FTO for 6 months,
and you can't fire them because they're on.
No, you can't fire them. Our job is they're just too scared to fire anybody, and it's the first year you can be fired for any reason, pretty much.
That's just sad, bro. That's just sad that all the money that's invested in each person, and you want not only for the safety of their well-being, but for the safety of the people they're taking care of, even if it's someone they're arresting and things, in the amount of things that are happening, not only to blue shirts, but to citizens outside of it. And but people never hear about this. And then it's sad to say that because of Delgado Garcia, now everyone's hearing about it, you know. But there's been all situations. There's been, you know, officers killed, um, officers hurt and injured. You never hear anything like that. And it's kind of shame that it takes a death to wake up everyone. And I feel that, like, you know, with me, you know, we're reflecting on a tragic loss and of Enrique Delgado Garcia. It's crucial that we advocate for changes that prioritize the safety and the well-being of recruits. And I'm baffled, you know. But my condolences to the family, and I don't even know what to say. You know, I'm so sorry for your tragic loss on this, and hopefully there's a resolution that comes out of this, 100% resolution, and everything that you need answered gets answered.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you just said that, you know, this tragedy has sparked change, but I say has it? It's been 5 months at least, right?
Yeah.
No answers, and the only change that has been sparked is that, you know, we're not doing boxing anymore. I mean, you remember the incident. Remember the incident was actually the class after I left. Thank God I left and I wasn't there for the class because I was probably be there. You know, the toilet incident was on the front
yeah.
I think it was on the front page of the Herald.
Yeah.
2 or 3 days, front page of the Herald, where, you know, and I know the guy who did it. He was a good guy. He was very intense. You know, loved his job. I mean, maybe got a little bit too tense. He's retired now, but he was a good dude. And, you know, and I understand some of his frustration because the way I heard it, that there was something floating in the toilet bowl, and he came in, yelled, and said, "Hey, clean this up." And then he left. He came back, X minutes later, and there was still something in the toilet bowl, and that's why he really lost it, because, you know, he found something, and then he told him to fix it. He came back, and it was still not right. That's when he lost it.
To me, I look at it this way: if you're in the academy and that's part of your job duty, and as you stated to me in the beginning, you need to be broken down in order to bring you back up. And that's kind of like what the military does. And I totally understand it. And I think, like it or not, in the entail of it, it should all be that way, especially law enforcement, corrections, anything. If you can't make the run, then guess what? You can't make the academy. I am not gonna. If you can't do it right, you call it gigs, right? You're getting hit with a gig. I don't care who you cry or who you weep to, because Lord bless if a fellow blue shirt is in trouble and they're 100 yards away from me and I'm stopping every 10 yards to breathe. Lord knows that if there was a citizen that was being harmed and I needed to run to protect that person, if I can't make it there because I got to stop and breathe, or I've gone, quote unquote, as everyone says, oh, I stopped for a Dunkin' Donuts, and I could walk to Dunkin' Donuts and get a coffee and a honeydew, but, you know, I can't run to go save someone's life. That's 100% bullshit. No matter how you look at it, bro. If you can't complete what's driven and given to you in the academy, it doesn't matter if it's cleaning shit from a toilet bowl in plain English, or you want me to scrub. I want that job bad enough. If that's going to break me down, then so be it. You're breaking me down because I want to be you guys out on that street.
One last thing on those guys, because but the DIs really care. I know when I was there, I really cared. I had like an hour and 10-minute ride to the academy, and, you know, some days we were there for long days, and you get tired, and you're doing PT, you're doing this, that, and the other thing, you get tired. So I decided to commit myself to it. And I really love my kids, the guys, and that some were kids, and I still talk with them and joke with a lot of them. And it's all an act. It's a play. And as soon as the play is over, it's like a movie, you know, the play is over. Now we can be friends. But I elected I actually slept there for the first 13 weeks. You know,
you sure you didn't sleep there because you needed to get away from the wife?
Yeah, we were married that long back then. But it made me fresh. I mean, you know, because I didn't have the hour and a half ride or whatever every day and every night. And, you know, and back then there was nothing to do. You know, I didn't really drink. So on my off time, I would just PT. I'd PT more, and I'd get a full 9 hours sleep. And, you know, I felt
good.
I felt great every day.
Feel good. And I think that's where it's built for. It's like, breaking you down makes you like you're not drinking, you're not eating crap food. You guys are basically supplying meals. You guys are, if they want during their break time, they can go work out, they can go for another run, right?
No.
Oh no, my bad.
Everything's 100% structured.
Oh, geez, I didn't know that.
Nope.
Well, anything you want to close out on that?
No. Again, our condolences, and I think we all want to know. I think we should know. I think the family should know. And frankly, if there's a video of it, I don't know why this would take more than a week.
I'm not disagreeing with you with that.
It's a video. I mean, there's your evidence. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
So
once again, our condolences to the family and to the fellow troopers. And sorry for your loss. And he would have been an incredible soul to be having out on the field and training, just like you guys have going on right now. So God bless. So right now we're gonna move on, and this is gonna be interesting because we've been a little. Chris could probably tell you this story. So I did a little research. And the research that I came up with, go to find out.
Wait, it was like 3 pages.
Yeah, it was 3 pages.
It was very, very thorough. I mean, thank God he read it to me. He was reading it to me. I was like, really? I was thinking, maybe I don't know nothing. Maybe I'm just oblivious.
Well, we already know you're oblivious, but you were right on this one.
Well, at least I researched the right agency.
So listen, right? Once again, you can screw off. But as I was discussing it with Chris turned around and said, "What the hell are you talking about?" And I said, "The D.O.G.E plan." And he says it doesn't have anything to do with growth and equity and this and that, jobs and growth. And I said, "What are you talking about?" "Yes, it does." Well, go to find out. I was researching something else, right? So what I had to do was rip my paperwork up. I had it beautifully written too. I had some jokes with it. I was picking on Chris. I had it all prepared. I had all prepared. Whoa. I lost all my jokes. The only joke I can remember is, you ready?
Yeah.
Why was the tomato blushing?
I don't know.
Because he saw the salad dressing. So listen, anyways, we're going to get back to this. We're diving into the Department of Government Efficiency. D.O.G.E. This initiative is being shaped by tech billionaire Elon Musk and former Republican president candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. And did that sound right? Ramaswamy? Yeah. And they're heading to the Capitol Hill to present their ideas to the initiative, which they've already done and already started. So what's on the table? They're expected to recommend drastic cuts to the federal workforce and significant reduction in regulations. House Speaker Mike Johnson mentioned they will discuss in reviving the principles of the limited government. Sounds ambitious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely sounds ambitious. So absolutely, they're talking about 75% reduction in federal workforce and a $2 trillion cut to the federal spending, right? Those are some major proposals, and it's worth noting that Elon Musk does not receive a federal compensation. He is an adversary and role is an initiator. That could lend some credibility to his intentions. So the only reason why I wanted to bring that up is everyone's saying, "Oh, he's getting millions of dollars for doing this." This dude and the president, they're not taking any salary base. I believe that you stated that Trump reinvests his money or whatever.
Donates the $400,000 to a charity every year.
Okay. See, I did not know that. So now let's break it down a little bit further, Chris. Mm-hmm. Okay, with some pros and cons. So we know one of the biggest reasons is to increase efficiencies, right? So the advocates argue that streamlining the federal workforce could lead to greater efficiency in the government operation. Okay. Cost of savings, I believe, was brought up on this. A significant reduction in spending could free up resource for important initiatives or help reduce the national deficit, right? And fostering innovation, which by stimulating or eliminating, I should say, outdated regulations, there might be more room for innovation and private sector growth. Am I getting it correct so far? Anything you're bringing into there?
Sounds good.
So those are some compelling advantages there are more significant downsides to consider. Okay. So I always tend to look at down and operational stuff all the time because you do it during your company. You want to see what the value is per losses and gains. So if I could take like a couple of losses but have a greater gain from going with the pros, then I will. But if the cons work more where my losses are less and I can get more back, then I'll do it. So one of the biggest things is it's a 75% is what I found reduction in the federal workforce, but could lead to a massive job loss, right? Impacting thousands of families and communities. Okay. So I'm seeing you shake your head. I see the little lip grab. So why don't I just pause there for a second before I move if you could to discuss the job losses?
I hate waste. Obviously, I think everybody hates waste. I pay a ton of money in taxes, and I think 75% is a little bit of a pipe dream. I think it's, obviously there is a lot of fat.
Excuse me.
I think 75% is a little bit high because there are obviously many, many people out there, because that includes Border Patrol and 100 different agencies that do good stuff. I think that's a lofty goal, and it won't happen. But I think there should be a significant reduction in federal employees. One of the stats I was reading, for example, federal employees, buildings, rent, utilities, all that stuff, that adds up, right? So it's not just laying off an employee, it's other parts of it. Like, for example, I read that 10% of the federal buildings are occupied. So there's only 10% of the staff in there because it's that COVID thing. Everybody's working from home. So, I mean,
or are they?
Well, or are they? I mean, and even if that number is a little bit skewed and it's 20%, if we one of two things, we either need to lay off some employees, we need to get rid of some buildings, so we maybe need or get people back into work. I've been kind of looking for a job that will fit what I want to do. And when I see jobs, when I'm looking at a job, I see remote, I don't even look at it. I don't want remote. I don't even want a remote job. I want to go into work. I want to interact with people. I don't think you.
I personally think, not to cut you off, but I think if you don't have interaction with people, then you don't have work.
Right.
And I think exactly what you're saying. We're not robotic. So if you can work remotely, then you know what? Get an AI and put them there. You need to physically come to work and work, because that's what makes America America.
Right.
Because you're physical. Your great grandparents that came in here, they were hand to dirt and digging every day. They weren't farming from their living room watching TV. So I believe, you know what? I love that you said can't work remotely. You need to be there.
Right.
I agree.
You do need to be there. And like I said, there's a lot of waste. I mean, I don't pick on any particular agency, but the big one in the news was, USAID, and, we can't, that's a day in and of itself, talking about what they spend the money on. But, our federal taxes are paying for it, just like people say to me, yeah, I pay your salary. Well, we pay their salaries, and, there does need to be a certain amount of cuts. I mean, we're old enough to remember the $10,000 screwdriver. That used to be the joke, and that stuff was true.
And it's funny. That's funny you said that, because not to go back to working for the department or anything, but one of the famous comments that you would hear is, I pay your salary, forgetting that you also pay a salary, because you also pay taxes, and probably even more. And because you have a house, you have children, you're paying taxes, you're having colleges, you're having all these other fees that you pay. So people tend to forget, when people say, I pay your taxes, you pay taxes too. So you can say it back to them. I pay your taxes. Who pays for you when you go to jail?
I pay for your SSI.
Yeah. I pay for it all. So one of my biggest things is that I was looking into was cutting entire agencies could disrupt essential services, right? So that many citizens rely on particular areas like consumers, protection, and healthcare. So do you think drastically cutting positions out like that? I know for a fact, I think I just read it, that Brigham or some hospitals closing down completely and getting rid of their staff. And then another hospital did a huge cutback. But they were saying that the cutback that they did, and once again, it's just what I read, is was an essential cutback, because it was like, you had a secretary, but yet your secretary had 2 other employees, one to basically do faxes and the other one to do the filing. So then what's the purpose of having a secretary?
Oh, well, there's a ton of waste.
Yeah, exactly.
And if anybody, I had a budget when I was, working for the state. I ran some department and I had a budget, and it was it's known, if I give you $10 million this year, you better spend all $10 million. Really? At the end of the year, it's funny. At the end of the year, like, oh, we got to buy stuff, because at the end of the fiscal year, it's like you only spend $8 million. You don't get a reward in the state or federal. You don't get a reward. Hey, Fleet, great job. You spent $8 million, your $10 million budget. Here's your reward. It's like, no, Fleet, you got to spend $2 million.
But why do you feel like
that's
if you get 10 million and you only use 2 million of it and you give back the 8 million, I think that's incredible.
I think government, because then,
hello, CC. What does CC say?
So then on next year, CC, no questions, but I'm listening. but then next year, I gave you 10, you spent 8. Next year, you're only getting 8.
That just makes no sense, bro.
And then now you got to fight to get back to 10. And it doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make any sense. So
the way it works.
Let's talk about the political feasibility, right? So given that 3/4 of the federal spending is mandatory, as you just said, 3/4 of it is mandatory. So that means I give you money, it's mandatory, you need to spend it, right? Making the drastic cuts will face significant political hurdles and may not gain bipartisan in support. You agree with that? Like, what do you say about that?
No, you're not going to get bipartisan support, because no matter what, Trump does, Democrats are going to say it's wrong, no matter what it is. If he saves a baby, they're going to be like, well, it's your fault or whatever. So you're not going to get the support, because think about it, whatever. I'm a senator, I get my cousin Joey a job faxing those faxes, and now he's got a job. So of course it's, now I can't get all my friends and family jobs.
Listen, if Joey has an accent like you, he's sharpening pencils. That's what he's doing. He ain't faxing.
That's the joke. I mean, look at that lady on the Boston City Council. That lady. I mean, that's pretty low in state government, right?
Yeah.
Got numerous 1 or 2 of her cousins a job
to work,
gave them bonuses, and then
gave a cut. Yeah. But what did she say?
She says, well, she's not retired.
She's not quitting step 1, but also what else is it? Everyone else does it.
Yeah.
Why am I being faulted for it?
Yeah.
Everyone else does it.
Right.
Why do you think she's still in the position?
Well, yeah, because she knows the secrets.
Yes, she knows. She knows something.
But think about it. If that's done on such a lowly, nothing against Boston City Council, but if that's done on such a lower spectrum, imagine what a U.S. senator can do.
I'm with you on that. I'm definitely with you on that one. But let's not forget that 16%. We're talking about 16% of the government's $6.1 trillion spending in 2023 went to non-defense, just discretionary programs. That's a tough hill to climb. So 6.1 trillion, bro. Like,
yeah, and non-discretionary. You know what that means? It's kind of like whatever they want.
Whatever they want.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Whatever they wanted.
I can't remember. Was it 2 million or 20 million for the Sesame Street thing in Iraq?
Oh, that was $2 million.
Yeah.
$2 million.
Yeah, for the Sesame Street in Iraq.
Yep. So that's $2 million. And then what right now that they just found out after Elon Musk has done his investigation was $4.7 trillion dollars is they don't know where it went, and there's a huge investigation and when that's going. That would help us out and take us what, 10%, 20% out of deficit.
That's like 10% of the budget, and don't forget that's not cumulative. That's year to year, and I was reading actually about that. So there's an identifying number that helps you track where the money went. It's a TSA number, and the TSA number is missing. And these guys are smarter than I am by 100 times. They say,
go Elon.
They say it's going to be extremely difficult to find out where that money went. And I don't know about you, but if that money went to Uncle Joey's bank account, I want to go back 20 years, 30 years and say, you owe us this much money and you're going to jail.
There was something that I watched the other day, and I only caught a little bit and piece of it, but Trump was asked about what he was doing and where it's going. And he said, do you think it's fair? And once again, this is how I took it. It's not exactly what he said, but he basically said something like, do you think it's fair that people are taking fundings for themselves and they're paying themselves out, but none of you know it while your taxpayer money's going into their pocket? That's called stealing. And he goes, we will pursue charges on these individuals and people. Said something in that term, which I found it pretty interesting, because also what I've noted, and I've sat very quiet about it because a lot of my friends had, supported somebody I didn't support. We'll leave it at that. Or, you know what, screw it. I support Trump. So it is what it is. But a lot of people supported the Democratic Party. But it's funny because they were discussing something that I heard that no one's, like, Biden hasn't come out to say anything about what Trump's doing. Like, all of them, Obama's sitting quiet, Bush, like everyone, no one that before they left was all like, this guy's going to wreck society and do this and that. Everything that this guy said he was going to do from the beginning, he's done. And the sad part is there's been so much positivity coming out of this that nobody wants to see it. So they want to see all the negativity out of it. They want to blame him for the eggs. They want to blame him for what's the latest thing?
Yeah, the plane crashes.
Plane crashes. Come on. God bless the one in Canada. No one died and passed.
Yeah.
God bless them.
Yeah.
And
that's his fault too.
Yeah. It's just,
but it was in Canada. Well, they said, well, that's okay. It took off from the United States. So it's still his fault.
Yeah. It's just, I'm so confused. Like, this guy doesn't do anything positive. Even a good friend of mine, and not to get off the grid, from New York, used to blare this song. I've known him for over 20 years. Used to blare that song that they had, that rap thing. I think Jay-Z sung it, that had Trump. I want to be Trump's money. I want to be this and that. And blaring it. Now all of a sudden Trump sucks. He robbed. He's taking money, this and that. But yet when he was getting all that free money on the PUA and all this, he was great with it until they came back and said, you owe us taxes on this. And then he's like, oh, what the hell? Trump did this. How do you get free money and not expect to pay for money? You know what I mean? So I get confused in society, but it is what it is. Despite these challenges, there are some growing support on the Hill. Okay, so we know that as we're watching. For instance, Senator Joni Ernst created a Senate D.O.G.E caucus, and even Rep. Jared Moskowitz has shown interest in improving government efficiency. He pointed out that this situation shouldn't be a partition issue. So, like, Musk, Ramswamy also believe Trump can make a significant changes through executive actions alone. Ramswamy, I'm so sorry for beating your name, bro. And laid out a playbook in his book, which includes supporting a czar to tackle the administrative state. So what do you think about that?
I think we'll call it the machine, if you will. The machine has to be broken down, and whether it's $200 wasted somewhere or $200 million or whatever, it has to be come out. And I'm sick of politicians going into politics with almost negligible net worth. And was it Pelosi? Worth hundreds of millions of
was she get paid 150 grand a year?
Yeah, I mean Obama. Obama wasn't worth any money when he came into office. Now he got like a $15 million home he bought, and
oh geez, you're talking $400 to $500 million, book signing, all this stuff. That's after though. You're talking after.
He's not making it on it. Yeah, but but he had it from the get go. He had it like as soon as. How do people make these money? And I don't know about. We'll all never know about Hunter Biden and the kickbacks and the Russian and the Chinese. We'll never know, but not for nothing. Where there's some smoke, there's got to be fire. I mean, if he stole $100 million,
listen. If you got to open up a door with that, this. I mean, you 100% know this. If me and you have our gun license, right? We go through these paperwork that we need to sign for the FBI. Mass State Police has to do it, and the local PD. On it, if it states to you, do you use drugs? Do you do this? Have you ever been placed in a mental institution or anything? answering anything like that is automatically termination of getting a gun license. Doesn't matter who you are. I know for a fact now, if you've ever been arrested or detained, you need to put your dates that happened. And guess what? It's up to them to make that decision to receive it. At certain times, do I believe it works for value? The answer is correct. At other times, do I feel it's a no-no because you might have a false charge? And for instance, you might have had an RO on you, and next thing you know, you beat it because it was falsified and you weren't even there, but now you had that on your record. You're gonna have to write that down. But they're not getting the whole story because they're only seeing that paperwork. Here's a guy that basically was placed in a drug house because he had a narcotic issue. No, I don't use drugs. Yeah, gee, I wonder how that coke was found in the White House. Yeah. No, yeah. All of a sudden, yeah, okay, it wasn't his. But then he was placed in a mental institution in rehab. Then he decides to throw a gun in a goddamn barrel, or where was it, in at a store or something like that. He disposes of a weapon. All three of those are an arrestable offense. Well, the first two aren't arrestable, but disposing a handgun
and disqualifiers.
Yeah, it's like, come on, bro. It's like, how do you go and touch base? But what I researched was Musk and Ramsor, who believe Trump can make a significant change through executive action alone. Ramsor laid out a playbook, right? And that's what I was discussing. They even had a set an expiry date for D.O.G.E, July 4th, 2026. So that's when they want that expiration. But this isn't the first effort to address government spending. We've seen initiative like Reagan's Grace. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So Reagan's Grace commissioned in Al Gore's National Partnership for Reinventing Government, but they didn't always lead to lasting change. So this isn't the first time. It was named something else before our time, and it caused change in balance. But once again, because I find it interesting, you stated because it's Trump. But if anybody else did it,
who else did it? Was Obama and Clinton. They both pushed for cuts in federal spending, and
see, I didn't know Clinton did. Obama did. That's right.
Clean up the cesspool, as they call it. But then they're like, hey, hey, you can't do that because that's how we give all our friends jobs. And they're like, so like, oh, okay, sorry.
And I think that's what's happening right now, because now all the people that stepped out that are no longer in office, now their friends are losing jobs.
Well, that's probably why Biden and those other people don't want to come out against, say, yeah, Trump is all wrong. He's wrong. He's this, he's that. He's all bullshit. Because then when it gets proved not to be bullshit, then they look. Didn't you say like a year ago that was all bullshit?
Well, John Kamsky, who worked on Gore's initiative, he pointed out what an aggressive approach might alienate potential allies within the bureaucracy. If focus is solely on cuts, there could be resistance from federal workers. Do you see that?
Resistance from federal workers for what? I'm sorry, I was reading.
Oh, somebody write you something?
Yeah. Nothing right now.
Oh, all right. No. I was just discussing that it's basically, so John Kamsky, who worked on Gore's initiative, pointed out that an aggressive approach might alienate potential allies within the bureaucracy. If the focus is solely on cuts, there could be resistance from federal workers.
Sure, because they're taking, of course you get resistance because you're taking away my job. You're taking away my job. I love my job of faxing. I had to make like 3 fax. That lady, I had to do 3 faxes a day. It was a great job. But when you're cutting jobs, yeah, you're going to hurt some feelings, and people aren't going to be happy. And it's going to be the people who had those jobs, aren't going to be happy. And then the people who can give those jobs aren't going to be happy. So, yeah, if you're part of the conspiracy, if you will, you're not going to be happy. Right?
So, kind of like William Hull. William Hull, basically from the University of Chicago, he stated, while there are inefficiencies in the federal agencies, dismantling them completely could do more harm than good. It's essentially to adapt rather than slash. That's what he's trying to say. Instead of basically cutting people out and getting rid of their jobs, you need to take your time and figure out what's going on.
some of it's a no-brainer. The guy doing nothing is a no-brainer. But so quickly, this 75% number, did you get that from? Would you get that number from slashing 75% of jobs? Because I don't think that's feasible.
Well, we can look it up again, but that's where they were saying there was 75% reduction in the federal workforce.
Right.
I did get back to. Did someone write something? Anybody answer that? That's on there.
Something about audit of the black budget. But and again, this is a number. I'm pulling this number out of my ass, but sure, there should be 20, 25, maybe whatever. Again, you can't really. This is a guess, and you can't really know until you look at it. But yeah, there should be I think there can be a no-brainer 20% cut, across the board of federal employees within the first year. There's got to be at least that much waste. And then
absolutely,
and then further looking, it's like and this is obviously controversial. He cut USAID, which we see a lot of weird things they do, and they cut out those DEI programs, which is another thing that's I'm sure is going to be controversial, but. There's a lot of jobs out there that, frankly, are no-brainers. That can be cut, and what's it been? A couple of weeks? Let's give it 6 months, a year. There's a lot to look at. There's millions of federal employees. There's a lot for them to look at. So once they look at it, and there's plenty of jobs that are very, very, very important, but there's other jobs that aren't, and
which I agree with you. There's not.
They need to go, and unfortunately, I don't know if people realize this, but federal employees do not, and this is, I think less federal employees in a better retirement do not get a good retirement. I was talking to one of my friends is DEA, and they get like 45% retirement.
Really?
He even said, he goes, I got like 7-8 more years, and then when I retire, I got to start another job. He can't live on 45%. So, yeah, but who wrote it?
It's actually written by almost everyone. Anyone I look in, I wanted to look at 2 different places, and this is the Urban Wire, and there was like 6 other locations. But I want to answer the gentleman, or I can't see that far. So what is
Thor?
I'm sorry, I am not familiar with you. So
it would be cool to see DOGE audit the black budget. Unacknowledged special access programs, probably hoping for too much. I honestly don't know what that is.
Well, he's talking about the Black Lives Matter and all the budget, and then went in with the blue. So there was that blue. You could donate money to it, and it was blue, but they got a percentage, and then others got percentages. Speaking of that lady, and I do apologize, I don't know her name, but she ended up buying condos, mansions, and all this. Now she's going broke, and she's asking people. She set up some donation fund to help her pay the taxes on the houses and stuff like that. And I absolutely do not disagree with you that I think that it will happen, and I think everything using the DOGE program, they will set forth an investigation on all causes of misappropriated funds, and I believe that it will be attached soon. So good question, and great comment, and I really don't disagree with you with this. I think we all pay taxes, and we've all worked hard, mostly, and I hate to say this, but if you really look at the person that you trust your life with, your friend, and people that you were raised in, I guarantee it, they're minorities, meaning your family. Like, I used to play chess with Chris's father at his house. That's how long I'd known him. I remember I'd play in his living room. He had this freaking soldier dressed. What was it? Yeah, it was a knight with a sword, and it was an armor, full body one. And the father would set up his chessboard, and me and him would play chessboard while afterwards, me and Chris would go get wrecked, come home, and his mother used to make this killer chicken cordon bleu. God rest her soul. But they were all minorities. They were all from Italy. They all came from another country. There isn't one friend that I have that has parents that were born here in the United States. Okay. So I think that when you get free money, there should always be a penalty to free money if it isn't something you earned. And people got to understand the reason why DOGE was developed was for misappropriated funds that were going to places that shouldn't have gone. That's all it basically means, you know, and I'm sure someone's going to write or say to me, how about this? How about that? I don't even know how to answer that other stuff. I just know that the more and more I'm seeing that's being overturned and trying to find out where this money was expedited to and why, it's like, come on, we sent how much money for condoms to help what for genocide? To me, I felt, and a lot of people are going to be upset with this, you were sending it there to save people that were being raped or controlled disease. I think it was in bringing down the population. I'm baffled by that. I am so confused how dropping condoms and paying that much money to a country is going to help. I don't understand how that stops war and how that stops ISIS and stops all these other things. I know I could just be talking, but I'm confused.
But remember too, you know, that contract was given to whatever, probably somebody's friend. It's like, hey, go drop off 10 million condoms here, and 10 million will cost him $1 million, but he gets paid $25 million to deliver it, and then there's a kickback and this, that, and the other thing. And I think the big thing is here, waste is waste, and we don't like any waste. And the other thing is, whether we're talking about,
someone's calling my personal while we're on while I'm using it for Facebook. Good looking out.
Yeah, whether you're talking about illegals or whatever, or anything you want to talk about, or giving money to another country, I think my philosophy on the whole thing is take care of your own first. That's all. You know, if nobody in the United States is homeless, or nobody in the United States is hurting, or this, that, you know, anything, when everybody that we have in our family is taken care of, you know, then we take care of other people. But take care of your own first.
I still disagree with that. I don't care how you look at it. I think we should always take care of our own. We have people that served our country.
Right.
I don't even think, I think there's a matter of, I think in order to take care of someone is to teach them how to build themselves. So I think when it comes to taking care of someone else in another country, we should help them with the growth of their own community. Meaning we should send people down there, educate them, like what seems to be the problem, not just turning around and dumping billions and millions of dollars and then every year dump more and more, but nothing was being taken care of. So if they're lacking water, then let's help them build a water. Let's, our guys, go there, pay them. Who wants to fly there? Let's develop that type of organization in Team Matter. Not let's just send them all this money and they'll take care of it. Because guess what happens a few years later? They need what?
More money, and the money never gets down to them anyway.
Yep. So in order, if you're saying we lack in food, then guess what? Not only we got to go there, but we got to build a unity, and we got to get grocery stores there. We got to figure out how to develop this unity as a team, because that's compassion. Educating people on how to survive and helping them survive the week is how you grow. I remember if you wanted something, what did your mom and dad say? Mom, I need $1. What did they tell you?
Yeah, go earn it.
Yep, go earn it. I remember sauce subs at Perillo, 25 cents for a small sauce sub and a slush. And I used to die to have one every week. You know what? What did I do? Go to everyone's house, ask them, do you need anything done? Do you need your trash taken out? Do you need stuff picked up? Just to get that 25 cents, right? Because I was dying for that sauce sub. Well, you want something, you'll get it.
Yeah. I'll get biblical on you for a sec. It's like, what is it, that old adage in the whatever? You know, give a man fish, he eats for a day. Teach him to fish, he eats for a lifetime, right?
Yeah. And obviously, we know there's some countries that they deal with some outside sources and things that happen. But what do you think you do when you empower them with money? The people don't get stronger. The people that overpower them get stronger, because guess what? You don't have the strength to hold that money, or you don't have that strength to build this, because now you're dealing with other people that are going to be like, oh, you're doing that? Guess what? You're paying taxes on that.
Right. Well, when during the hurricane, I actually went down with the state police to Puerto Rico to help out. We sent down a bunch of people. I went down, I think, for like 18 days to help out. And we did whatever they needed us to do. But the point being, they were all complaining that, you know, I think it was during Trump's, right? But that we weren't sending it. We weren't sending.
Where if you had Trump signs, you FEMA didn't go there.
Yeah, no. It was like they were complaining that we weren't sending any money. But yeah, we were sending them money. It's just that, you don't send the money to the people. You got to send it to the government, and hopefully the government filters down to the people. But that wasn't happening because it was so corrupt. So the money was going to the government, and the government employees were keeping 90% of it.
So what happened to Hawaii?
What's that?
Where they had that massive destruction that occurred down
fires,
there. Yep. And then what happened? I heard they got like, what was it? $700 for the month. That was it. And people, they're part of us. Why didn't they get the money necessarily to help recoup them in families that had no homes, no houses or anything? And then just to let you know, when I was insulted, it's all, and I know sometimes I go off the script, but I'm going to tell you something. I dreamed about going to Hawaii my whole life. Me and my wife went there for our honeymoon. The island itself was beautiful, but you know what I hated about it all? I found out that there was homeless there, and it wasn't homeless from Hawaii. California was flying the homeless there because they had so much homeless in California. They were giving them a one-way ticket. They fly them there with like $50 in their pocket, and they were all over the airport. Tents were there and everything. And then we went to the beaches to go. Tents were popped up and everything. Not only was that saddened to see that a beautiful island like that got overwhelmed with taking on something, but the greatest thing is no one bothered you. No one did anything, but it was talking to the community. It wasn't about let's get rid of them. They wanted to know how they can help them. So I found that interesting because I go somewhere in Boston, no one's talking about helping the homeless. They're trying to kick them off the thing or splash them with water to get them going. Everyone I met in Hawaii felt so bad that they were offering places for them to pop their tents on their yard. Okay. And I was like, wow, this is an amazing state, that they did that. And one of the biggest things that I saw, me and my wife went to Hannah, we drove everywhere and we got to see anything. We saw land that was ruined. And then on top of it, Chris, one of the worst things ever. And I swear to God, I wanted to whack this guy right in the mouth. So they have signs on there that says, please do not stand over here because it's agricultural and you could step on something that could kill. These scumbags, in plain English, taking pictures, jumping on it, not caring, trampling on the stuff. We're yelling, get off it, screw you, drinking their booze, throwing the trash down. One of the biggest things I find disgusting is watching a fellow American go to another country and destroy it. Even Greece, when I went to Greece. We went to so many parts in Greece in one of this famous place called Santorini Island. Beautiful. If I show you cigarette packs thrown on the ground, watching Americans, that I'm with, eating something, throwing a wrapper on the ground when there's a trash barrel in there. So it's discussing that we're raised different, and meaning like we don't do that. I literally went and picked up stuff because I couldn't believe we disrespected. I was so welcome in there. But once again, I just went off the script, but it's just
come to think about it, I haven't heard anything about Hawaii.
No, that's what I'm saying. Hawaii,
it's kind of like
it's now faded out.
It's no longer news.
You don't deal in anything. But all right, everyone, it's a pleasure once again. Thank you so much for joining us. I know today we started out late again, but our goal is to stay within the times of 12:30 and 1 to start up. And then if we run and we don't stop. But I dearly appreciate all our followers and everyone else that's starting to follow us with new. And I would deeply appreciate it if more comments and questions come instead of you waiting until I'm off and then texting me and then calling me or sending me a personal email. It'd be great to see more comments coming on the YouTube. It's that @ Security Tales. And then obviously when I get my messages on Facebook, I don't have the ability of looking at it until after we're done. So I do apologize that. But if you go to @Security Tales on YouTube, you can write whatever you want on it, and me and Chris could gladly answer you. So once again, from the bottom of my heart, God bless everyone. May you be blessed with everything in health and wealth. Chris?
Hey, everyone have a great day. Thanks for listening, and questions, comments, concerns, let us know, and future topics, let us know. Thanks. Have a great day.
Be blessed.
Could you put your Facebook Live on the laptop? And
I gotta figure it out though. I gotta ask
but wouldn't you,
Marcus the villain.
can't you just like you log onto Facebook on the laptop? Because then you could see the questions.
I gotta end stream.